Good afternoon. Today is November 10th, 2016. By now, you have to know that Donald Trump has been elected President of the United States, handedly winning over Hillary Rodham Clinton by an electoral vote of 290 to 220. Now, if you're watching the media, which I know many of you probably are, but some of you aren't, and that's a good thing. Because if you listen to the media, they would have you think that this entire country is in utter chaos. And in some places, it is. They're going to say that the people of the United States are in full panic mode over a President Trump. But is this really based on reality, or is it just more media hype? And I got to tell you, just off the cuff, we monitored the election process on multiple major media outlets. By far, the three that got it right were the AP, Reuters, New York Times Politics, as much as I don't like to say it, and Fox News were in the top four. Those four agencies had the electoral votes solidly locked the entire time. As for the others, the Clinton News Network was by far the worst of the bunch. That's my opinion, based on what we were seeing on election night. At 2:45 a.m., the Clinton News Network still had not called the race, although the AP, the official source, had called it well before. Just a little side note. So the U.S. media has managed to make the unfounded claims that Donald Trump will be a disastrous administration, making false claims that Trump would or will get us into a nuclear war. We've heard this. Worsen relations with countries, place the U.S. military at risk, and leak classified information, make the situation in the Middle East worse, and kill trade with other nations and kill our own economy in the process. And again, we are looking at the world reaction to President-elect Donald J. Trump. But what do the national leaders and alliances really think? So we did a little digging. Took a little while because we want to make sure we had everything for you. I don't want to put out something and then have to come back and retract it and edit. It's not good. First off the bat was Russia. President Vladimir Putin reported that he offered Trump his congratulations and expressed confidence that the dialogue between Moscow and Washington, in keeping with each other's views, meets the interests of both Russia and the U.S. This was reported in multiple sources, one stating that he offered a dialogue, another one stating he sent a telegram. Either way, Russia made it clear they want to work with President Trump. Don't believe me? Listen for yourself.
Ready and willing to restore fully fledged relations with the US. We realize this is going to be a tough task given how they've deteriorated recently, but we are ready to play our part and do our utmost to put our relations back on track.
Sounds pretty promising. Let's move around the globe a little bit. This is the UK, Theresa May. I would like to congratulate Donald Trump on being elected the next president of the United States following a hard-fought campaign. Britain and the US have an enduring and special relationship based on the values of freedom, democracy, and enterprise. We are and will remain strong and close partners on trade, security, and defense. I look forward to working with President-elect Donald Trump, building on these ties to ensure the security and prosperity of our nations in the years ahead. Documented multiple sources. And Nigel Farage, leader of Brexit. I hand over the mantle to @real Donald Trump. Many congratulations. You have fought a brave campaign. UK certainly looks to be on the side of Donald J. Trump. Let's look to Australia. The Australian government congratulates President-elect Trump. With our shared enduring national interests, our relationship will continue to be strong. Malcolm Turnbull. In Canada, our closest ally to the north, Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada. Canada has no closer friend, partner, and ally than the United States. Trudeau said in a statement, "We look forward to working very closely with President-elect Trump, his administration, and with the United States Congress in the years ahead, including on issues such as trade, investment, and international peace and security." In France, our closest ally across in Europe, François Hollande. J'en viens de me pied au sujet de l'élection présidentielle américaine. So basically, he's saying, and this is a summary of some of the sources I've pulled out. He's basically saying, yes, he will work with Donald Trump. It's a little uncertain as it stands right now where that relationship will go. However, there is no break in the bond between the United States and France. And if you look at Marine Le Pen, she congratulates Donald Trump. She's on the right side of the political spectrum in France. And she clearly states she is willing to work with Donald Trump. Therefore, I am calling it that there is no issue between the United States and France moving forward. Germany. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said the USA presidency carries a responsibility which is felt all over the world. She's just stating the obvious there, but there's no country we Germans, she's stating, have as close a relationship with as the United States of America. Whoever rules this vast country with its enormous economic strength, its military potential, its cultural influence carries a responsibility which is felt all over the world. Germany and America are connected by common values, democracy, freedom, respect for the law, and for human dignity, irrespective of origin, skin color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or political conviction. On the basis of these values, I offer the future President of America, Donald Trump, a close working relationship. There goes the argument that United States and Germany can't get along. Greece. I think the idea is that this is an historic day, according to Stelios Kouloglou, a Greek politician and member of the left-wing party in Syriza, that said this is a historic moment. The fall of the Berlin Wall, as you know, November 9th, 27 years ago, the Berlin Wall fell. The fall of the Berlin Wall gave the green light to this oligarchy, during which the 1% is getting richer and the 99% are getting poorer. And this happens also in the United States. Today's result and the result of Brexit are a major defeat for the political establishment, both for the Republicans and mainly for the Democrats, because Clinton represented this rotten oligarchy system, this cynical way of making money, and this cynical side of capitalism. Greece is on the side of Donald J. Trump. Italy, and Matteo Renzi is the Italian premier. He was just here with President Obama. And Italy and the United States have a long-standing history. Matteo Renzi expressed how he wants to maintain a positive relationship with President Obama. This is his statement. Offered his congratulations to Trump, brushing aside political differences following his repeated public endorsements of Hillary Clinton. That's true. In the name of Italy, I congratulate the President of the United States and wish him well in his work, convinced that the Italian-American friendship remains strong and solid. So there you have it. Italy, not an issue. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe, congratulated Trump in a statement today, adding that the stability of the Asia-Pacific region, which is a driving force of the global community, brings peace and prosperity to the United States, and that Japan and the United States are unwavering allies, tied firmly with the bond of universal values such as freedom, democracy, basic human rights, and the rule of law. And there you have Japan. Malaysia. I congratulate President-elect Trump on this extraordinary victory, and I look forward to meeting him again soon, indicating clearly they've met once before. So there's Malaysia. Mexico. Well, here's an interesting one. Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto tweeted his congratulations to Trump in a string of posts. Mexico and the United States are friends, partners, and allies. who should continue working for the competitiveness and the development of North America. There you have it. Certainly not negative from Mexico. Philippines. This is an interesting one because if you're following international things, the Philippines president, Rodrigo Duterte, does not particularly care for President Obama. He's made this clear in several speeches and statements he's issued. So this is an interesting one because here he says President Rodrigo Roa Duarte wishes to extend his warm congratulations to Mr. Donald Trump on his recent electoral victory as President of the United States of America. The United States presidential elections is a testament to the enduring traditions of its democratic system and the American way of life. The two-party system gives American voters freedom of choice based on party platforms, not just on personalities. President Duarte wishes President-elect Trump success in the next 4 years as chief executive and commander-in-chief of the U.S. military and looks forward to working with the incoming administration for enhanced Philippines-U.S. relations anchored on mutual respect, mutual benefit, and shared commitment to the democratic ideals and the rule of law. So that's President Duarte, Philippines. Poland. This statement was a little self-serving. Basically, Marek Medjurowski, a spokesman for the Polish president, said Poland cares a lot about whether Trump will implement NATO decisions to deploy military deterrent forces in Poland and the Baltic states. So basically, Poland is worried about whether or not NATO and Trump will back NATO into putting missile defense systems in place. And I don't think that's going to be a major problem. But let's move forward. Rwanda, the Republic of Rwanda President Paul Kagame congratulated Trump on his well-earned victory, adding he's looking forward to a continued good relationship with the U.S. Scotland. While this is not the outcome I hope for, it's the verdict of the American people, and we must respect it. I congratulate President-elect Trump on winning the election. So, not overall positive, but this was from somebody that's clearly supported Clinton. However, I hope the president-elect will take the opportunity to reach out to those who felt marginalized by his campaign and make it clear, in deeds as well as words, that he will be a president for everyone in a modern, multicultural America. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But let's move on. Singapore, congratulations to President-elect Trump. Singapore will strive to keep working together with the U.S. Turkey, and we don't hear much from President Erdogan too much, but he did write, I congratulate Donald Trump on being elected as the 45th President of the United States and look forward to further strengthening our relations. Right now, we do have very rocky relationships with Turkey because there's a lot of little intricacies going on with the Syrian conflict and some Russian-Turkey deals. But we'll see. I think Donald Trump can break through that. Some more interesting ones. This is from, who is this one? This is Egypt. Egypt was one of the first people to personally call and congratulate President-elect Trump. And below that is Iraqi President Fouad Moussam, who congratulated the Republican candidate Donald Trump on the U.S. presidency election's win and pointed out that Iraq is keen to boost its cooperation in Washington. Not surprisingly, here's Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel. I congratulate Donald Trump on being elected 45th President of the United States. Trump is a true friend of Israel and look forward to working with him and peace for our region. So, not a surprise there. This was a funny one. This is Trump versus the Saudi Arabian Prince Alwaleed Talal. This went back a while. They were going back and forth. Donald Trump, you are a disgrace not only to the GOP, but to all of America. Withdraw from the U.S. presidential race, as you will never win. Donald Trump, of course, wrote back, Dopey Prince Alwaleed Talal wants to control our U.S. politicians with daddy's money. Can't do it when I get elected. Hashtag Trump 2016. Then one more. Has your country, Saudi Arabia, taken any of the Syrian refugees? If not, why not? Trump clearly called him out. Not too long after, 19 hours, the Saudi prince did put aside the Twitter feud and congratulated Donald Trump, as did the king of Saudi Arabia and his cabinet, where they congratulate and praise Donald Trump for his victory over Hillary Rodham Clinton. China. President Xi Jinping phoned Trump to congratulate him on winning the U.S. presidency. I place great importance on the China-U.S. relationship and look forward to working with you to uphold the principles of non-conflict, non-confrontation, mutual respect, and win-win cooperation. So that was in multiple sources. It looks like China wants to work with a president-elect Donald Trump. So one country didn't seem as happy. And it shouldn't be a really hard guess as to which one that was. So we know it wasn't Russia. We know it wasn't Iraq. We know, well, Syria was silent pretty much on the whole thing, which only leaves one country or two that didn't really say much, but one did. That would be Iran. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani says the election results will have no effect on Tehran's policies. The U.S. Iran's policy for constructive engagement with the world and lifting of nuclear-related sanctions have made our economic relations with all countries expanding and irreversible. There were some other sources saying that Iran basically was taunting Donald Trump about ripping up the nuclear deal, that he can't do it. The fact of the matter is, Trump can do it, and he can reverse the Iran nuclear deal, or the JCPOA, as it's technically called. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. All right, so world leaders appear to be okay with the Trump presidency. What about the major alliances we belong to and the trade organizations? Because that was the key thing that those on the left said, that Trump would just blow up our alliances. According to NATO, I congratulate Donald Trump on his election as the next president of the United States, Stoltenberg said in a statement today, and that is the Secretary General of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, otherwise known as NATO. And I look forward to working with President-elect Trump. Stoltenberg said that U.S. leadership is as important as ever as the world faces a challenging new security environment, including hybrid warfare and cyber attacks, adding that a strong NATO is good for the United States and good for Europe. Nothing negative there from NATO. Looking at the head of the World Trade Organization, Roberto Azevedo, has congratulated Trump on his victory, saying he will support his administration. U.S. leadership in the global economy and the multilateral trading system remains vital. It's clear many feel trade isn't working for them. We must address this and ensure trade delivers the widest benefit to the most people. That coming from the president of the WTO. And the EU. We extend our sincere congratulations on your election as the 45th president of the United States of America. Fortunately, the EU/US strategic partnership is broad and deep, from our joint efforts to enhance energy security and address climate change, through the EU-US collaboration on facing threats to security in Europe's eastern and southern neighborhoods, and to the negotiations on the transatlantic trade and investment partnership. We should spare no effort to ensure that the ties that bind us remain strong and durable. So there you have it. EU. Certainly not speaking negative of President-elect Donald Trump. Well, let's take a look back in the United States. Hillary Clinton. Last night, I congratulated Donald Trump and offered to work with him on behalf of our country. She conceded around 2:45 a.m. She further goes on, I hope that he will be a successful president for all Americans. Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead. Barack Obama calls on Americans to show unity as he congratulates Donald Trump. Ted Cruz congratulates Donald Trump. President Bush's both congratulate Donald Trump. So most Americans basically have accepted the overwhelming victory of Mr. Trump over Secretary Clinton in a constructive manner. Yes, some are upset. Others really don't care. And then there's the other side that's extremely happy. So that includes those in the opposing party. President Obama the next day called for America not to be discouraged by the outcome of the elections.
I had a chance to talk to President-elect Trump last night, about 3:30 in the morning, I think it was, to congratulate him on winning the election. And I had a chance to invite him to come to the White House tomorrow to talk about making sure that there is a successful transition between our presidencies. Now, it is no secret that the President-elect and I have some pretty significant differences. But remember, 8 years ago, President Bush and I had some pretty significant differences. But President Bush's team could not have been more professional or more gracious in making sure we had a smooth transition so that we could hit the ground running. And one thing you realize quickly in this job is that the presidency and the vice presidency is bigger than any of us. So I have instructed my team to follow the example that President Bush's team set 8 years ago and work as hard as we can to make sure that this is a successful transition for the President-elect. Because we are now all rooting for his success in uniting and leading the country. The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy. And over the next few months, we are going to show that to the world. Now, everybody is sad when their side loses an election. But the day after, we have to remember that we're actually all on one team. This is an intramural scrimmage. We're not Democrats first. We're not Republicans first. We are Americans first. We're patriots first. We all want what's best for this country. That's what I heard in Mr. Trump's remarks last night. That's what I heard when I spoke to him directly, and I was heartened by that. That's what the country needs. A sense of unity, a sense of inclusion, a respect for our institutions, our way of life, rule of law, and a respect for each other.
So, while President America called for all of America to root for the president-elect, it appears some others just didn't get the memo. And it was widespread. And it's ironic because President Obama had went out and rallied so many people to basically engage in hateful activity. But that's another topic. The comments he made the day after the elections was to unify America and root for the president-elect, respect the rule of law, and respect our institutions, which includes, by the way, the electoral process of the President of the United States. Unfortunately, didn't go so smoothly. And we're seeing just some videos. This is courtesy of RT, just of various cities that just couldn't keep it together. Philadelphia, New York City, Washington, Chicago, and of course, we had major issues in Oregon. So while everyone agrees that Americans have the inherent right to peacefully protest, some just decided to be destructive and riot. So I don't know, you tell me, is that really appropriate behavior? I don't think so. It looks to me like a riot. It looks to me like violence. Even worse though, our educational institutions like Yale Economy 115 students puts out a memo that he has heartfelt notes from students who are in shock over the election returns. The ones I find most upsetting are those who fear, rightly or wrongly, for their own families. Therefore, I'm going to scroll down. I'm making the exam optional. And this is in regards to midterm exam. And then he goes on to calculate how he's going to do their grades. But the midterm exam becomes optional after students write in expressing shock about the presidential election. Other universities like Cornell, and these are Ivy League schools, mind you, encourage and allow their students to share their grief with a mass cry-in. And they're provided Play-Doh. I'm being serious here. They're provided Play-Doh, crayons, and therapeutic animals to handle their grief in the election returns. Sorry, kids, that's not how it works. You know, this election, and I've been hearing it on multiple news sources, they're saying it's going to take years to figure out what went wrong with Hillary and what went right with Trump. And it's very simple. Trump listened to the American people. Hillary Clinton did not. Trump rallied and campaigned in states with high electoral votes and in areas where those high electoral votes existed. Clinton did not. Oh, and by the way, while everyone is protesting President Trump running the entire map, is anyone upset about this? The Republicans ran the map on the Senate races and the House of Representatives. Yes, folks, we have a Republican president, a Republican Senate, and a Republican House of Representatives. Nobody's crying about these two that I've heard. And also, there was the rumors that the stock market was going to crash and plummet. But whoops, initial dip, but it rose and bounced right back up. So there's no stock market crash just because Donald Trump was put into office. Or is going to be in office. So the bottom line, those protesting likely didn't vote or didn't really help the Clinton campaign. Rumors are that they're hired, and there's ads for protesters on sites like Craigslist. We've seen evidence of this, like for $15 an hour in Oregon. If they are true protesters, they didn't really get out the vote. The misunderstanding of the electoral process by not only campus kids, but also by Hillary Clinton. Great underestimation of the silent majority is what got Donald Trump elected. Many Trump supporters quietly campaigned. They didn't respond to the polls. They didn't bother giving their input into the pundits and pollsters. They remained quiet, with the exception of a few of us that remained very vocal to keep those rallies going. Trump did have his finger on the pulse of the U.S. populace. Clinton took many traditional Democratic states for granted and didn't bother to go there for the general election campaign. Popular vote does not mean the presidency. You have to win the electoral vote, and that's where Clinton failed. Peaceful protest stops upon unlawful activity. Schools and other institutions should not encourage this poor behavior. Ignore the protesters unless they really have valid points, and then arrest unlawful riot participants. The rule of law, per President Obama, not even Trump, the rule of law must be adhered to. And that's the bottom line. So as always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and please share the video. We're going to bring you more information as this campaign, or actually as this now presidency, moves on. And again, we're going to be keeping the media honest.